As promised, here's the second video covering the man in the suit. The first video I made covered the first 6 tapes, which ruined my appetite. But this video is going to cover the remaining 6 videos, which made me pause at certain points so I could make sure what I read was actually real. The creator of this analog series is Unknowingly, so go over there and check out his channel to watch the full uninterrupted versions of the tapes. His channel link will be at the top of the description. Without taking up much more of your time, let's get on with the video. Just as a brief recap, the first 6 episodes covered how the man in the suit became the thing that he is now. And it was just some poor fellow who had lost his family during the Hiroshima bombing while he was on a business trip, and after he decided America and all who sided with the country needed to die. So he took some radioactive substance that allowed him to fuse with the suit, and he also turns other people inside the suits into monsters like him by painfully ripping into them. But the most terrifying aspect about him that we covered is the fact that he has Shin Godzilla-like abilities. This thing constantly mutates, which it uses to carry out its heinous sense of justice. If you want a more in-depth review of the first 6 episodes, go check out this video right here. In the 7th tape, our camera guy, who's basically a spy at this point, gets 2 different envelopes. The first one says that no one at Toho had mailed him a weird package, even though the mailing address was from Toho. Perhaps it was someone else who has similar interests to his but wants to keep their identity hidden as well. And the 2nd tape is a very sloppy written letter saying that Toho had fired him. It looked unprofessional, but he thought it might be true because they might have just found out. I don't know, man, if a massive company that does highly illegal stuff fires you out of the blue, chances are that they will put you down before you even leave the studio to keep the information safe. Somehow he doesn't think much further and mentions that he had befriended someone who can act as a second spy and get him classified tapes and pictures. Damn, I hope you're paying that dude. Godzilla hates traitors with a passion. The camera guys handed the tape titled Dorsal Extraction, so they still somehow want to continue working with this abomination. This time they want to try and remove him from the suit, which I found very strange because I thought we had established that there was no longer really a human in that suit. Like, the guy is literally connected with the suit. Even with a massive electric saw being waved in front of him, the people on the tape said that he was very cooperative. They still haven't caught on yet that this thing only allows them to do certain stuff if it benefits them. So they did the procedure and it apparently is a success, which I'm not too sure about because all I see are the spikes in his back being taken out, which doesn't hurt him somehow. But not too long after, he attacked another cameraman. You know, at first I thought he was only killing Americans, but I think he has beef with cameramen in general. The dude did repel it though when he snapped some photos because the light disoriented the man in the suit. For this video, the description says that the dark is beautiful when translated. So at this point, the man in the suit has accepted what he is and embraced it fully. There's no turning back at this point and he's got to do what needs to be done. Video 8 opens up with our cameraman finally receiving the tape from his friend. Apparently this is the one he was waiting on for a long time. Toho is trying to force the guy who is now merged with the Anguirus suit to play in an upcoming movie. They're losing some credit and the fans want to see Anguirus, but he doesn't want to come out. And who could blame him? Why would he go back on set and do another acting scene with the man in the suit? So what does Toho do? They basically enforce slavery, treating Anguirus like an abused dog, by tasing and beating him to follow commands. To be honest, I think he should just crash out like Goji and rip off some arms and kill a few cast members. Maybe then they'll take things seriously. However, while they were working on forcing poor Anguirus to follow commands, a new movie again is being made. It's about Godzilla battling a giant moth. Yup, Toho is definitely evil. They're just setting up more people to get mauled by Goji. In tape number 9, things just go all the way to DEFCON 1. First of all, our poor cameraman can't travel outside of Japan to see his family. He wants to get out of this as much as possible, but he fears it might be too late. Fearing Toho would probably kill him if he tried anything drastic, which is a genuine fear. A massive company like that won't let you just go after seeing everything. But what really makes this situation bad is the fact that Goji escaped. Somehow. With all their security measures and guards, the man in the suit escaped. And how did he find out? Well, on the news, of course. Your daily source of what the hell is going on Earth. Like, what do you even do in this situation? You know the monster hates you and wants to kill you, but you're only alive because you lucked out. Now no one knows where it is. People all over were taking up pictures of this thing and one couple got a real close-up to it. The husband was a photographer and decided to take a picture of the road for his next photo piece. Which is so odd. Why are you taking out pictures of the road at night? I don't understand if it's a bright city or late afternoon, but taking out pictures on a relatively dark road at night may cause you to see something you wish you didn't. And he sure did. There is the man in the suit who is absolutely massive standing on the road. I would have just made a quick U-turn because there's no way I'm driving past that thing. Then there was a kid who has balls of steel. He saw the man in the suit thinking it was Godzilla and decided to rush out and take some pictures. Even if you thought it was Godzilla, why would you try to get close to Godzilla? The man in the suit really has gotten bigger and actually looks like a different variant in different shots, which is again odd. The cameraman tried to interview the kid, why, leave the kid alone, and the young chap said that wasn't Godzilla. He had seen Godzilla in theaters with his dad and he said it looked more like a man in the suit. It looked uncanny and its movements were off. He also said that its face kept on changing. I don't mean expressions, by the way. I mean, his face structure actually changes so many times, but the boy remembered one of the faces and drew this for our guy. If this isn't a sign to sleep with a firearm, then I don't know what is. But in the most scummy yet smart way, Toho manages to blow all this over by telling people it was just an actor and this was a promotion for an upcoming movie. Hey, hate him or love him, this was a smart move. What are you more likely to believe? A horrific Godzilla human hybrid walking down the street with hate in its heart, or a man in a Godzilla costume doing a promotion for an upcoming movie? The cameraman was obviously flabbergasted and had so many questions like how did he escape, did they catch it, and what's gonna happen next? And at the end of the tape we see a black and white image of Mothra. I feel so sorry for whoever's gonna be in that suit. The description for this tape translates to this place, the air outside, the car, the windows, the house. Have they just moved on? Have we forgotten? So the man in the suit is almost certainly referencing the Hiroshima bombing, since this is the first time in a decade since he's been outside and he sees all the roads, buildings, etc. have been rebuilt, as though nothing ever happened. So in his mind he thinks everyone just forgot what the Americans did and accepted it, which at this point just gives him greater motivation to push on. In the 10th video we open with yet again another Godzilla trailer it seems, so Toho just doesn't care at this point. The cameraman did get some information pertaining to Goji's escape though. Apparently something went wrong. They were treating the man in the suit like an animal, putting some glossy material over his eyes to hide the bloodshot, exposing him to very high winds, and dragging him around. What do you mean dragging him around? Who is dragging that colossus around the set? But guess what folks, none of that matters, because Toho forgets they're working with an unpredictable mini kaiju and decide to do another movie. As most of you thought, it is with Mothra. But hey, they thought 2 steps ahead this time. They're using a puppet for Mothra this time instead of a person in a suit so no one will get hurt, which will throw Goji off. But that wasn't a permanent solution since a person needed to go into one of the larva suits to play the role. I'm convinced that these people dedicate their work and research to one project and then ignore everything else. I'm sure they could have gotten something robotic to put in the larva suit to make it move a little. I mean, it's not like the person in the larva suit will be able to move that much. So one female actor decides to take up the role in the larva suit. She says that she feels safe because of the number of guards on set. You poor fool. She was so proud of this achievement that she invited her parents to watch her. They didn't care what role their daughter had. They were just happy their daughter could be part of the movie, which is some good parenting right there. But his wholesomeness doesn't last. During the movie, Goji does attack Mothra because he thought someone was in it, but the moment he found it was a fake, damn, all hell breaks loose. He sprints towards the girl in the larva suit. At first, the sheer size of the suit saved her from getting bitten, but eventually Godzilla bit down on her skull and started shaking. And like all good parents, hers go up on stage and try to save their daughter, but Godzilla just mauled them. After killing the parents and maiming the girl, Godzilla guarded the larva suit. But Toho was ready this time. What do you mean they were ready? If they were ready, none of this would have happened. Now I'm starting to think that they want people to turn into these mutants so they can get more content. Anyway, they bring out tasers, etc, and the man in the suit takes off and escapes again. They made up a team to search for Godzilla and another team was instructed to try and get the girl out of the larva suit. It took an hour and when they found him, he was calm at first. The spy was a part of this team as well. As the men surrounded him, he started to shake uncontrollably. And in his own weird and disgusting way, he tried to do an atomic breath. It wasn't flame but hot boiling blood and tissue. I think what Goji did there was regurgitate any remaining human parts inside of him, so that all that is left is Godzilla. I mean, it's been 10 years now that he's been fused with that suit, and whatever he took allows him to contort his shape and size rapidly, so I don't think his human form is required anymore. When they show a picture of the boiling blood, it looks radioactive, which honestly is the case because the dude did take some weird radiation to become what he is now. As for the team tasked with catching him, they were somehow able to move him to a more secure spot. But there was one thing they were not looking forward to when coming back, and that was the girl in the larva suit. Alright, so this just took a turn for the worse. Godzilla really said, if you want to give me a puppet, I'll just make the real Mothra myself. The girl in the larva suit formed a chrysalis and was about to turn into Mothra, which honestly sounds painful for a human. So Goji really is trying to make an army of kaiju to get revenge for his family and everyone else who died during the bombing. And the description just says reborn, which would explain the drastic transformation we see the girl do in the larva suit. In the next tape, the spy found out very interesting. It was a Toho executive and a government official talking. Apparently the government official was the one responsible for keeping all of this quiet. In exchange, Toho would share some revenue and keep the weird creatures alive. Even the Toho executive said that they don't want to continue these movies because of how bad it's gotten, but the official still wants them alive, but doesn't say for what. If I had to guess, it's some politician who has found some scientist that has discovered some way he can make a huge profit from these things. But all of this just explains why most of this hasn't gotten out yet. I mean, a government official with all of their resources could keep the masses calm and kill anyone who tries to give out information. But that was just one conversation. Another one was them discussing what to do about the current situation, including the cocoon and Goji's behavior. And speaking of that cocoon, it was now developing in the warehouse where they store props. Could you imagine going into there to get something and seeing a pulsating mass just there? There were some people that tried to tear it off, but the thing just released the orange gas that flooded the room, and very wisely everyone fled because it could be radioactive. Let's be honest, it was. Our camera guy is getting pissed off about the current situation because in his eyes, innocent lives are being ruined for their stupid mistakes. Which is a valid point, to be honest. As for Goji's disgusting radioactive vomit, some scientists were brought to take a look. At which point it just looks like a death trap. Like if you inhale any air in that general area, you'll be able to walk backwards and forward at the same time. After seeing what happens when the man in the suit's biological matter makes contact with a person's blood, they decide to stay the hell away from it and shut the area down. Even when someone said an eye was reported in the puddle, the scientists did not take any real chance to look for the eye too much and gave up. Thing probably dissolved already. But this is more than likely, as I said, the eye or remains of the man in the suit's human body. So all that's left now is just Goji. In spite of this, the fools are going to make another movie, which is more than likely going to be with Ghidorah given the order. As for the cameraman, he's getting homesick, especially after seeing mail his daughter sent him. It shows his daughter, wife and him separated by a line. And then there's a note from his wife asking what's really going on, because it's been a long time since they've really made contact, and she wonders what he's doing, which at this point isn't just being a cameraman, but instead a prop who's used to showcase the horrors the public will likely never know, and there's nothing that can be done, unless he puts a stop to it, which he said he will. Kinda curious to see what he does, to be honest. But at the end we see an image of Ghidorah, so again another poor person is about to get mutated. In the final video we start off with another movie trailer, this one with Goji, Ghidorah and I think Rodan, and I'm not sure what that is. But I'm sure you know where this is going. They made another suit, this time of Ghidorah. It's a semi-puppet apparently, but they don't say what the suit exactly is made out of. They just blank it out. Part of me thinks the materials used for the suit might be material from his body because he can heal it back, I assume, and the dorsal extraction could have been what they wanted the material for. As for our cameraman, he's had enough and is going to bring a gun to intervene. In what I can only assume is desperation, he tries to bring it in the studio while it's in a guitar. Goji's appearance also changed, which threw me off guard. I wouldn't be surprised if the man in the suit intentionally evolved during each movie, getting a buff with each one. But the ones who really needed the buff were the actors in those suits, because Toho was about to see if that Ghidorah costume would do the trick. They were confident based on the suit's hard materials, but they seemed to forget that the neck was still a vulnerable area because that's where the actor's arms and head would be. They even made some weird contraption that allowed the guy in the Ghidorah suit to open up its mouth. At the time of the shoot, Godzilla stayed still but started shaking violently. Yup, that freak's about to hurl up some radioactive blood again. For whatever reason, everyone else stayed back, but the dude in the Ghidorah suit came closer. Why do people do this? If I was in an acting gig and someone started geeking out in front of me, I'm running off the set. Suddenly, Goji grabs one of the Ghidorah heads with its mouth and spews the boiling blood down the head. So Goji is very smart at this point. He knew they wouldn't just put another human actor in a suit so recklessly, so he threw up the blood down one of the Ghidorah's neck to cover up the guy inside. And during this, our cameraman was now entering the studio, but the workers wondered why he had a guitar and asked where he has been. He tells them that he got a letter saying he was fired, but they said he never was. At this point, Godzilla immediately turned his attention to the cameraman, and a game of deadly cat and mouse took place. This is very horrifying, even though I don't know how it could be done. I actually think it was the man in the suit who wrote those letters. I mean, the moment the cameraman got told this information, Goji turned his attention to the guy. Or hear me out, this is a stretch, but what if the spy was actually some sort of informant for Goji too, and did certain errands to ensure Goji wouldn't kill him? But like I said, the man in the suit is more than likely the culprit for the bad written letters. We then get a terrifying POV of the cameraman getting chased, and dear heavens, it's horrifying. Yup, that'll do it right there. Godzilla's head literally started to regenerate. So his female friend was right, humanity might now be in serious trouble due to how fast Goji will mutate. I mean, his head got blown off with a shotgun and he didn't die, which also makes me believe even more that some of his skin may have been used for that Ghidorah suit. As for Ghidorah, well, it's now a monster my mortal brain can't comprehend. Straight up looks like something from Uncanny Valley. The translation for this description just says you can't kill God, blasphemy. But Goji at this point thinks he's indestructible, which is true to a certain extent. But what makes this worse is the fact that the people he turned into similar hybrids could also have these powers. And with his small group he will destroy the Americans for what they did. And that brings us to the end of the episodes. Probably would have gotten more of those bratty Godzilla stance and ruin everything. Imagine getting so butthurt for a creative series, by the way. Anyway, at least Unknowingly basically said the biggest FU in history by releasing a Man in the Suit game. So go on over and check out his channel and see the clips unedited if you haven't already. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'm gonna finally get some sleep.